Hello, my friends. Welcome back to English Flow. I'm Mark, and today we have something very special for you. Today's episode is about one of the most overlooked aspects of English learning, rhythm and intonation. But instead of just teaching you theory, I want you to meet someone incredible. His name is Ahmed, and he's here to share his amazing transformation story. Ahmed struggled with the exact same problem that many of you face right now. People understood his words, but something was missing. His English felt flat, robotic, almost lifeless. Native speakers would ask him to repeat himself, not because of grammar mistakes, but because his English didn't have that natural flow. That music that makes English sound, well, English. But Ahmed discovered something that changed everything. He found the secret of English rhythm and intonation. And today, he's going to share his personal practice routine that took him from sounding like a textbook to speaking like a confident, natural English speaker. Ahmed's story will inspire you because it proves that fluency isn't about perfect grammar or a huge vocabulary. It's about finding the heartbeat of the language. So let me introduce Ahmed, who will share his journey with us today. Ahmed, welcome to English Flow.
Thank you, Mark. When I think back to my English learning journey, I remember feeling so frustrated. I had studied English for years. I knew grammar rules better than some native speakers. I could write perfect emails, ace vocabulary tests, and even debate complex topics. But when I spoke, something was wrong. If you're listening to this right now and feeling frustrated with your English, I want you to know I understand you completely. That feeling of knowing you're intelligent, knowing you have so much to say, but somehow your English doesn't reflect who you really are inside. I know how exhausting it is to constantly translate in your head before speaking. I know that feeling of being trapped between understanding everything but not being able to express yourself naturally. People would look at me with this confused expression. They'd say, "Sorry, what did you say?" Or could you repeat that? At first, I thought it was my pronunciation. So I spent months perfecting individual sounds, the th sound, the R sound, all of those tricky consonants and vowels. But the problem remained. I started questioning my intelligence. I remember thinking, maybe I'm just not good at languages. Maybe I'll never sound natural. I would watch English movies and think, how do they make it look so easy? How do they make English sound so alive? I felt like I was speaking English words, but they were speaking English life. For months, I was stuck in what I call the understanding trap. I could understand podcasts, movies, complex conversations, but when it was my turn to speak, nothing flowed. My mouth felt heavy. My tongue felt foreign. I would plan my sentences perfectly in my head, but when they came out, they sounded flat and lifeless. I remember one particular moment that really hurt. I was in a meeting at work presenting an important project. I had prepared everything perfectly. My slides were flawless, my data was solid, but when I started speaking, I could see people struggling to follow me, not because they didn't understand my ideas, but because my English sounded mechanical, like I was reading from a robot manual. That night, I felt like giving up. I thought, maybe this is just how I'll always sound. Maybe some people are just naturally good at languages and I'm not one of them. If you've ever felt this way, please know that you're not alone. That feeling of inadequacy, that voice in your head saying, you'll never be good enough, I've been there. That night, I went home feeling defeated. I called my English teacher and said, what am I doing wrong? Why don't I sound natural? And she said something that changed my life. Ahmed, you're speaking English words, but you're not speaking English music. That's when everything clicked. I realized I wasn't trying to speak English. I was trying to live English. There's a huge difference. Speaking English is about correctness. Living English is about connection, emotion, rhythm, the natural flow of life expressed through language. I want to tell everyone listening, if you feel like you're stuck in grammar prison, if you feel like your English is technically correct but emotionally dead, you're not broken. You're not stupid. You're just missing the soul of the language, its rhythm and melody. That's when I discovered rhythm and intonation. I realized that English isn't just about correct words in correct order. It's about the ups and downs, the strong beats and weak beats, the melody that carries meaning and emotion. It's about making your voice dance with the language instead of fighting against it. I know how it feels to think you'll never sound natural. I know that moment when you hear a native speaker and think, I'll never sound like that. But here's what I learned. They're not speaking a different language. They're speaking the same language with music, and music can be learned. So I started experimenting. I began listening differently. Instead of focusing on vocabulary or grammar, I focused on how native speakers made their voices dance. I noticed that some words jumped out. They were longer, louder, higher in pitch. Other words almost disappeared, spoken quickly and quietly. I discovered that English has a heartbeat. Content words, nouns, main verbs, adjectives, these get the strong beats, but little words, articles, prepositions, auxiliary verbs, these are like the quiet notes between the beats. My breakthrough came when I started practicing with music. Yes, actual music. I would listen to English songs and try to feel the rhythm in my body. I would tap my foot to the beat and notice how the stressed syllables matched the musical beats. But before the breakthrough, there was a lot of struggle. I want to be honest with you about this journey. For weeks, I felt like I was making no progress. I would practice every day, but my English still sounded artificial. I started thinking maybe I was too old to change. Maybe my accent was too strong. Maybe I should just accept sounding foreign forever. If you're in that dark place right now, thinking you'll never improve, I need you to know something. That feeling of being stuck is not permanent. It's not a reflection of your ability or intelligence. It's just a stage in the journey. Every single person who speaks English naturally went through this phase of feeling awkward and artificial. Then I created my daily routine. Every morning for just 15 minutes, I would practice rhythm and intonation, not grammar, not vocabulary, just the music of English. I stopped trying to speak perfect English and started trying to speak living English. First, I would listen to a native speaker. Could be a podcast, a news clip, even a movie scene. But instead of trying to understand every word, I focused on the pattern. Where did their voice go up? Where did it go down? Which words popped out? Then I would shadow them, but not perfectly. I would exaggerate everything. If their voice went up, mine would go way up. If they stressed a word, I would stress it dramatically. I felt silly at first, but this exaggeration trained my ear and my mouth. Next, I practiced with simple sentences, but I made them emotional. Instead of saying, I want to go home in a flat voice, I would say it like I was excited or tired or frustrated. This taught me how intonation carries emotion. The transformation wasn't immediate. For the first month, I felt like I was overacting. My intonation felt fake, too dramatic. But slowly, something magical happened. Native speakers started responding differently to me. They seemed more engaged, more interested in what I was saying. Then came the real test. 3 months into my rhythm and intonation practice, I had another important presentation at work. This time, when I spoke, people leaned in, they nodded along, they asked follow-up questions. After the meeting, my colleague said, Ahmed, your English has really improved. You sound so much more natural and confident. That's when I knew I had found the missing piece. It wasn't about speaking more words or using complex grammar. It was about speaking with the natural rhythm and melody that makes English come alive. Now, after 2 years of consistent practice, people often ask me where I learned to speak English so naturally. They're surprised when I tell them I've never lived in an English-speaking country. The secret wasn't immersion, it was understanding the music of the language. My routine has evolved, but the core remains the same. Every day I spend time listening to the rhythm, feeling the beat, and practicing the melody of English. And it has transformed not just my pronunciation, but my confidence, my career, and my connections with people.
Ahmed, thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey with us. Your story perfectly illustrates something I tell all my students. English fluency isn't about perfection. It's about connection. Friends, I want you to really think about what Ahmed just shared. He didn't achieve this transformation by memorizing more grammar rules or learning bigger vocabulary words. He succeeded by understanding something fundamental about English, that it's not just a language, it's a rhythm, a melody, a heartbeat. Many of you listening right now are probably in the same place Ahmed was 2 years ago. You know the words, you understand the grammar, but something feels missing when you speak. People ask you to repeat yourself. You feel like you're speaking English but not sounding English. Here's what I want you to understand. You're closer to breakthrough than you think. Ahmed's transformation didn't happen because he was special or gifted. It happened because he shifted his focus from perfection to connection, from correctness to naturalness. The beautiful thing about rhythm and intonation is that you can start practicing today. You don't need perfect pronunciation. You don't need advanced vocabulary. You just need to start listening for the music in English and letting your voice dance along. Remember, every native speaker you admire once learned this rhythm naturally as a child. They didn't study it, they absorbed it by listening and mimicking. You can do the same thing as an adult. It just requires intentional practice, like Ahmed showed us. Your English journey is unique, but the destination is the same for everyone. Natural, confident, musical communication. Ahmed found his path through rhythm and intonation practice. What will yours be? Start tomorrow morning. Choose one English video, podcast, or song. Listen not for the words, but for the music. Feel the rhythm in your body. Let your voice play with the melody. Give yourself permission to sound different, to experiment, to discover the English speaker that's already inside you. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you again, Ahmed, for your inspiring story. Keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and remember, you're not just learning English, you're finding your English voice. I'm Mark, this has been English Flow, and I'll see you in the next episode. Keep flowing with English!